This next exciting Dr. David Talks WayBetternar, entitled 23 Keys Attraction Workings, is the 13th episode in the 23 Secret Keys to WayBetter Your Life series. Hi, I'm Dr. David J. Hastings, Dean of Habitology University, and your host for this next cutting-edge segment. The first attraction, WayBetternar, exposed pertinent universe H operating parameters that enable attraction to function. This next WayBetternar will continue to delve deeply into universe H secrets to disclose all the facets of how attraction works. Grounded in Habitology University's habitology teachings, these attraction WayBetterNars expose not only how attraction works between people, but also how the same universe H laws that drive its dynamics are essential for the sustenance and expansion of our universe H home. Previously introduced was that science provides a wonderful linear scale called the Electromagnetic Frequency Spectrum, or EFS, whose purpose is to catalog the enormous magnitude of universe H's frequency stuff. The EFS, Electromagnetic Frequency Spectrum, is important because it provides an extremely precise and useful register upon which can be slotted not only the frequencies of known and theorized vibrational frequencies, but also reveal their juxtapositions, one to the next. So simply stated, the EFS provisions an immutable vibrational frequency spot on its very long gradient or linear scale for all the energy and matter stuff in the universe, our universe H. EFS cataloging extends from the smallest known energy remnant to the many atomic level matter expressions like hydrogen and oxygen, to molecular compounds formed of precursor atomic building block material like water, to vast arrays of cooperatively interacting molecular compounds like DNA, which enable life forms and species, and then right up to universe H itself. Synchronously, as mankind harmonically vibrates within a narrow frequency range on that EFS, mankind also has its position on the electromagnetic frequency spectrum. Incredibly, within mankind's frequency scope, each person holistically, as a consequence of two factors, uniquely harmonically vibrates due to the variances in not only one's biological material, i.e. the physical quantity and composition, but also one's experience accumulations, data archive action potential energy. Thus, as everyone is an assembly of uncountable base 3 through base 7 ingredients, cells, atoms, molecules, compounds, each person's physical self harmonically vibrates, or as you recall, biovibes uniquely, even though perhaps only very slightly one to the other due to material quantity variances. I'm 6'8", I would vibrate differently than somebody at 5 feet tall because the material quantities are different. The second aspect to explaining attraction focuses on the role brain mass plays in provisioning one's vibrational signature. As learned in the previous WayBetternar, ongoing action potential or electrical energy is retained in data archive neurons, billions of them. As the myriads of independent action potential frequencies harmonically vibrate, so do they holistically vibrate as ones, we call it X vibe or experience vibe. In other words, because experiences are retained as action potentials of various frequencies, and as experience mix varies person to person, data archive accumulations of action potential consequently vary between people. Specifically, neither action potential nor data archives vibrate generically, person to person, but are each unique. Thus, one's action potential accumulations, which are storehoused in multiple data archives as archived old, additionally yield a unique holistic harmonic vibration we coin X5. Excitingly, due to harmonic blending of one's bio-vibe and X5, everyone presents a unique holistic vibration signature. Variants of X-vibe is also true of twins, triplets, quadruplets, and quintuplets, etc. Although their bio-vibe may be very similar, their X-vives can be radically variant. Thus, each emanates a unique vibration signature and thus exhibit unique personalities and behaviors. Recall that whereas genetics dictates both biostructures and brain mass capacity, experiences provide the neural fill or content that manifests one's X5. Fantastically, one's vibration signature is not fixed. Instead, it continuously revises due to both physical changes and experience acquisition. Thus, one's baby self harmonically vibrated differently than one's adolescent self, well, and even than one's current grown self. Perhaps the reason most love babies is due to the fact that a newborn brain mass has minimal action potential, or X-vibe. In other words, at birth, a baby's vibration signature is almost pure genetically rendered bio-vibe. So now one comprehends why each person vibrates uniquely. Let's get on with how vibration signatures, in combination with some additional keys, determine attraction. Conclusively, vibration signatures are unique for each person. Key to understand that. Thus, regardless of whom one meets, their vibration signatures will indubitably be different. Sometimes very similar, sometimes not so much. As detailed above, Universe H operating parameters dictate that certain frequency combinations at each base level are incompatible. Otherwise, Universe H would be a generic mush. For instance, even though helium is atomically adjacent to its hydrogen precursor that forms water when bonded to oxygen, there's just no way helium is sufficiently frequency compatible with oxygen to replace hydrogen in water compound formation. Then, just as for base levels within Universe H, people's vibration signatures can also be diametrically incompatible with another. For instance, let's use a ruler as a convenient conceptual measure for unique vibration signatures. So when one person's vibration signature, say, is at the 1-inch mark, and the other person's is at the 11-inch mark, the overlap necessary for immediate attraction will probably be missing. However, when one's vibration signature is at the 5 and the other person's at the 5.5, initial attraction will likely result. At least it won't be repulsion. What drives rapid characterization of another on a scale from attraction through repulsion? Good question. Also, how is it that most times assessments are eerily accurate? With above discussions in mind, initial attraction responses can be disclosed. Now, to expose how attraction works, first necessary is to review the key factors that attractions wonders. For instance, who are the players on the attraction field? Fairly obvious is the requirement for an attractee, the one being attracted, and an attractor, the subject of the attractee's attention. Secondly, and perhaps less obvious, is that Attraction relies on sensory arrays accepting out their mechanical energy from the attractor. Notably, if the attractor is farther away, visual sensors, sight if you prefer, although that's not totally accurate, are most prevalent. And if close, body self-sensory arrays as well are involved, like smell, sound, touch, so on and so forth. So the big questions are, what is the form or format of the mechanical energy clues that the attractee receives? And what neurophysiological processes determine the electrical energy equivalent action potentials as attractive notable? Well, notable, again, is that attraction, like everything else in Universe H, presents on a broad gradient. In this case, from 100% attraction through 100% repulsion. The global explanation, attraction occurs when current new frequency signatures, in other words, sensory events occurring right now, sufficiently frequency match one's vibration signature. Repulsion, of course, is the flip side of that. As a consequence of sensory acceptance triggering vibration signature evaluation, first contact, whether in person, over the phone, or from a distance, results in an almost immediate, visceral and mental impression. Thus, on first meeting someone, as initial attraction can be directly correlated to sensory acceptance, well, when both ongoing current new appeals, i.e. significantly frequency matches one's vibration signature, well, then when it matches, one feels attracted. On the flip side, when one's vibration signature does not frequency match current new, well, neural mechanisms will evaluate a safety risk almost every time. Of course, safety risk initiates flight testants to cyclically spirit body self away from potential harm. Additionally, testants initiate applicable endocrine responses, hormonal responses, which neuroprocessors will interpret as fear and, well, there's where the revulsion comes from. Also, as first response cognitive pro-habits, and both chaos habits as well, additionally enact beliefs, attitudes, perceptions, etc. in order to solution what is going on out there right now. Biases and the like have already tainted both one's responses and one's sensory acceptance. Thus, as the attractor's physical features, or looks if you like, their micromotions, the visual remarkable features, and their sound, smell, and so forth form the current new clues that spirit most data archive retrieval and reflection. Thus do the attractee's cognitive habits in symmetry with their vibration signature determine attraction gradient positioning from initial attraction to disregard to repulsion. Conversely, when contact results in detraction, the likelihood of your investing additional time, which could confirm or refute initial vibration signature assumptions, is unlikely, actually highly, highly unlikely. Cognitive habits are so pervasively in control, you will seldom give someone a second chance to make a first impression. Even if one did force themselves to reassess, a long road of data archive populating would be required to create more lenient cognitive habits. Thus, as cognitive habit agendas are tenaciously rigid, reassessment, again, is very unlikely. The next WayBetternar will wrap up the proceeding and forge on to expose how all Universe H energy and matter variations, including mankind, are essential for Universe H's expansion. Don't miss it. Your feedback is always appreciated, as you know by now, so interact and contribute by sending an email to drdavidtalks at .wbyl@gmail.com with reference ID capital S01, capital M03, capital T06 only, please, in the subject line. Thank you for your time. It's much appreciated. Stay safe until the next WayBetternar. Thanks again.